content writing, copywriting, creative writing, SEO writing, technical writing. What's the main difference? There are a lot of differences between these types of writing, and choosing the wrong one can have pretty much disastrous consequences for your business. So this video will help you avoid that. Hi, I'm Shaba, founder of Game of Conversions, the place where online entrepreneurs learn how to convert casual leads into profitable and paying customers. And today, you're going to learn the clear differences between all these types of writing, how you should use them, when you should use them, and how to make the most out of them. Keep watching. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe to it. Just click on the subscribe button below and hit the notifications bar as well, because that way you will be notified each time I release a new helpful video, which will help you grow your business online, achieve more with freelancing, or just pretty much make more money online. All right, and with that being said, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Here's the problem. Most people have absolutely no idea what all these types of writing mean. And if you use the wrong one, you will have a pretty big problem on your hands. Let me give you an example. If you want to sell something online, then you should obviously use sales copywriting. However, if in this case you use content writing or technical writing instead, then you can be pretty sure that not many people are going to convert, not many people are going to become your customers. And the same is true if you want to rank higher in Google. Then obviously you want to use SEO copywriting, because if you use some salesy types of messages, then you won't have an opportunity for the search engine to crawl those keywords that you selected, and you're gonna basically miss out on a big opportunity. So there's a place for everything, and today I'm going to show you which one means what. And our first contender is content writing, which is pretty much one of the most common types of writing, online or offline. And in a nutshell, it basically means you just write something that people read, and preferably you make it enjoyable for people so that they actually read it. They don't just skim through it. Now, with that being said, is content writing easy? No, heck no. Actually, you have to learn a lot to become a great writer. And this is one of those subtle differences that can really show the difference between a good writer and a great writer. Because whenever you're reading somebody from a great writer, you're going to be sucked in, pulled into the text like there's no tomorrow. Now, with content writing, the aim is to make it as enjoyable as possible for people, because that's the way they're going to read more and more of your stuff. So if you're a blogger, if you have a content marketing strategy, and this is where this content writing is absolutely crucial, then you want to make sure that your text is easy to digest, it's enjoyable, it speaks to the reader, it talks about things that are important to them, and it's just plain old sounds nice. It's also good to make it conversational, as if you were talking to a friend at a bar, but obviously there's going to be a difference between the type of publication that you write. Something more professional is going to have a little bit different tone to something which is more friendly or young or upbeat. Now, should you use content writing to sell something? No, absolutely not. And the thing that you should use instead is copywriting. So then we have our second contender, one of my favorites. And if you don't know copywriting, you should definitely get to know it better, because it's one of the most profitable skills that you can ever have. Why is that? Well, simple. It's because copywriting is the art of science of stringing together words that sell, that make people take an action, not tomorrow, not the day after tomorrow, but right now. And that's why it has a huge value to both marketers, business people, and basically to everyone else as well. If you want to basically persuade your high school sweetheart to go to a dance with you, guess what? You're going to use copywriting. So obviously, the aim of copywriting isn't easy. Like, think how hard it is to convince people to do something, to persuade them, not to manipulate them, not to basically force them to do something, but to build genuine desire for something in them. Well, that's the aim of copywriting. And it actually has roots in direct marketing. And it was called, firstly, it was called direct response copywriting, because unlike various TV ads, for example, or classical advertising or branding, the aim was to get a direct response from people. So they would get a mail, for example, and then there would be a letter inside. These were called sales letters. And the whole aim of the letter was to get people to mail in a check or just buy something right from that letter. And the same is true today as well with emails, for example, or dedicated sales pages. By the way, if you want to check out how such a sales page looks in practice, then you should definitely check out this video above, because it breaks down one of my own sales pages used to sell my own online course, Rainmaker Email Mastery, with great effect. Getting back to copywriting, obviously, you need a different skill set for it. You need to be much more knowledgeable in psychology, even in behavioral economics, and all those subtle things that make people do something. It's not enough to be a good writer. And in fact, it's a funny thing and a funny fact in this industry that most people who have a degree in writing or they're more knowledgeable in literature, they're going to have a hard time learning copywriting because they will have to unlearn a lot of things that they studied there. For example, you cannot really have big paragraphs in copywriting. You want to make the text as clear as possible. Some usual grammar rules simply don't apply here because a lot of people, especially your target audience who you're writing to, they don't think like professional writers. They think like ordinary people. They talk like ordinary people. And you want to write them in a tone which is like ordinary people, even if that may not be technically fully correct. So just keep this in mind. The aim of copywriting is to convert no matter what, okay? And there's one more type of copywriting which is getting more and more popular nowadays. It's called conversion copywriting. And it's one more step above direct response copywriting in the sense that conversion copywriting uses a lot of data, and it's data-driven type of writing in a sense that first, you get to know your ideal customers and audience really well. Then you uncover what are their pains, fears, hopes, and desires. And then you do a bunch more customer research like review mining. You go to Amazon, you see what other type of people say about books in the niche that your product is in, or the product is in that you want to promote. Or you closely look at testimonials that you already have to see various patterns, to see what people really want, how they can identify with your solution as best. And then once you have all this information, only then do you start to write, not just writing something that you think it sounds nice or just wordsmithing. No. You write based on the cold hard data that you have and you test. Okay, so nowadays, whenever you're writing a landing page, a sales page, an email, anything, you can test. And good conversion copywriters know that there's no such thing as a magic bullet. They come up with the first variation, they test, and they optimize it based on feedback that they get, based on real world feedback. So this is the main difference between a conversion copywriter and a content writer, for example. A conversion copywriter has a system, has basically a workflow that these people go through, which involves a lot of data, which involves a lot of testing, A/B testing, user testing, even heat mapping software that you can apply to your websites. And based on those data, they write, they refine, they iterate. And that's the whole process for conversion copywriting. But then again, you also find people who are looking for SEO copywriters. And why are they called SEO copywriters? Well, again, this is a mistake because most of those writers don't really do real copywriting. They do content writing in a way that is SEO optimized. So what this means is that they use and they incorporate a lot of short tail and long tail keywords into their writing so that the text is going to rank high in Google search engines. And SEO writing is absolutely crucial for any content marketing strategy, because if you would get a copywriter, a sales or conversion copywriter, to write something which will rank high, obviously, most likely it won't, because that text is optimized for the human element. That text is optimized to get people to act right now and to buy. While a content writer or an SEO writer comes up with text which is more aimed at the algorithm. So Google's algorithm, obviously it has to be enjoyable to read as well. So in a few years ago, you could keyword stuff text and it would rank high. But nowadays it doesn't really work that well, because Google is looking for context. And good SEO copywriters or writers basically use these keywords, both short tail and long tail, very intelligently. But they're still not copywriters, because their aim is not to get people to buy ASAP. So now that we covered all three major types of writing, let's talk about a few misconceptions that people have. So if you're a business owner and you're looking for a writer, you should definitely know that if you hire a true copywriter, a conversion copywriter, direct response copywriter, or even sales copywriter, you're going to get text which converts, which is main objective is to get the sale. And obviously, these copywriters are going to be more expensive, and the skill sets involved are very sophisticated, because they have to combine various skills from various fields of study to basically engineer a text that converts. However, if you just want to get a blog post or content for your content marketing strategy, then you shouldn't really hire freelance copywriters, because they're going to be much more expensive and their expertise is to get the sale. What you need instead is content writers or SEO writers who are going to give you engaging text that people are going to love to read, and is going to be much more affordable. And the same is true if you're a freelance writer as well. If you see a job post which says sales copywriter wanted, then obviously they're looking for someone who can get the sale, who can give them results, who can boost their numbers and their conversions. However, if they are looking for an SEO copywriter or content writer or creative writer, then they're looking to get content from you. Now, the problem is that oftentimes a lot of clients confuse this, and that's what this video tries to solve. But you should know that most clients or people, when they think about copywriters, they don't really think about conversion copywriters. They don't know how much work and skills and knowledge and process is involved in crafting text for landing pages or sales pages that truly converts. It's not just coming up with something off the top of your head and that's it. It's very far from it. So most of the time, people are going to look for basically a jack of all trades. So it's good if you know all these types of writings, but if you're a more qualified copywriter, then you should only work with clients who are looking to convert and who are looking for text which shows them results. However, if you're a blog writer, a content writer, you can pretty much take any job, because maybe it will have some copywriting elements as well, but I'm sure that you're going to be able to handle it. So now that I told you all this good stuff about copywriting, should you learn it? Should you get better at it? Well, my answer is yes, definitely. As I said, this is one of those high income skills that will serve you for the rest of your life, whatever you write. It's going to be good for emails, for landing pages, for sales pages, for video scripts, anything, because the same concepts apply either way. So how should you learn copywriting? Well, my recommendation is that you can start with one of these 3 books. The first one is called Advertising Secrets of the Written Word, but it's also called the Adweek Copywriting Handbook, okay, depending on the region. And it's written by someone called Joseph Sugarman, who was a master copywriter back in his day. And this book is going to give you tons of gold nuggets on how to structure a sales message, what elements to include, how to convince and persuade people to do something. You're going to love it. Another great book is On Advertising by David Ogilvy. And if you don't know it yet, then David Ogilvy is one of those legendary marketers who's revered even today. He's such a big guy in marketing and in copywriting circles, and this book is going to change your mind on how you look at persuasion and marketing. And the final book that I recommend is a legendary book called The Boron Letters, written by Gary C. Halbert, one of the most famous copywriters. I think he sold several $1 billion worth of things back in the 80s and 70s. So yeah, he's a big name. And this book is basically about his thoughts written to his son from prison. So check it out. You're going to enjoy it. And as a bonus, I'm going to give you 3 other books that are going to make you a better writer. So not just a copywriter, but a better writer in general. And the first one is called Bird by Bird by Anne Lennett. And this is useful if you're struggling to string words together, or you just have something called the blank page syndrome. You don't know what to write about. This will help you get through it. Another one is from none other than the legendary Stephen King, called On Writing, a memoir of craft. Well, listen, Stephen King is one of the most recognized writers ever, and he definitely knows his craft. And if you want to learn from the best, then this is the book that you should read. And finally, a more practical book that will also help you make money as a writer. This one's called The Well-Fed Writer: Financial Self-Sufficiency as a Commercial Freelancer in 6 Months or Less. And it's written by a guy called Peter Bowerman. Simply read this if you want to learn how to make money as a writer, how to pitch clients, how to get paid what you're worth, and how to not lose your sanity in the process. And that's pretty much it. If you like this video, then make sure to subscribe to the channel, because I'll be posting regularly about things that will help you grow your online business or achieve success online. Also, if you love this specific video, then make sure to like it, because it's going to help me a lot to create even better content in the future. Also, if you want more exclusive online marketing techniques that I only share with some select subscribers, then head over to gameofconversions.com and subscribe to my ever-growing newsletter. It's free and it will no doubt give you a lot of value. And now it's your turn. Leave a comment below and tell me what type of writing you've done before, either for a client or for yourself or for your business or for your high school sweetheart. Just let me know in the comments below. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, see you guys in the next one. Take care.